Hey, Diego.
Shane, how are you, my friend?
Pretty good. How about you?
Very good. Good to see you again.
Thanks, you too, man. With all this rain, I feel like I'm living under the ocean this week. How you doing up there?
I'm doing pretty good.
Oh,
My
cool.
wife is rushing me. She wants to go out to dinner.
Yeah.
We're gonna have some seafood, and I'm on a seafood diet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when I see food, I have to eat.
Pretty much my diet. Yeah, that's pretty much my diet.
Yeah,
I'm always that way. I've been that way my whole life. That's awesome.
yeah. I try not to, but it's hard to pass on food, man.
Yeah, bro. I think my go-to food is sweet potatoes, man. They're addicting to me. Oh, I can't stop eating them. That and pizza.
Uh,
Friday nights, my pizza, 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 pizza. Yeah, I love it.
well, I love pizza too.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
was on a cruise ship the other day and it was like a pizza 24/7. And man, it's
Oh,
hard to pass on that too.
not kidding. Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
um, like I said, my wife is asking me to make this call quick and and
Yeah,
and we're gonna make her happy. Happy wife, happy life.
absolutely. That's fine with me.
So, like last week, we talked about RVs and
Right.
RV park, and we set a purpose of making this call specific for tiny homes. Our audience keeps asking us questions about tiny homes, and tiny homes communities are growing up, is
Oh,
becoming more and more popular.
yeah.
And I know you have been to many expo and shows and fairs and things like that. So I'm getting interested in tiny homes as well, because many of the mobile home parks are now transitioning into a tiny home community.
Right.
So I want to ask you a few questions, and that way our audience can get more details on what we're doing in our land development projects. So one of the questions is, are tiny homes usually expensive to buy or build?
It's kind of all over the place, just like RVs. There's kind of one for everyone. There's some of them are, I mean, the cheapest I've usually see is probably anywhere from 40 to 50,000. There's some that are three, 400,000. Usually not as extravagant as RVs in terms of, I haven't really seen any $1 million teeny homes, but it's totally customizable in terms of the features and amenities and whatnot. But it really varies depending on the consumer's desires.
Yeah, I was in Arkansas visiting one of our mobile home parks, and I noticed that there are some companies that they provide like at the outside, and the inside is customizable, like you say, so you can just buy the outside and then build in inside the way you want it.
Yep, yep. Yeah, there's
And
so many options. It's crazy. Yeah.
right, and just like anything, you can go to Home Depot or Lowe's and buy kitchens,
Yep,
and you can be affordable or it can be high end. It's based on how much money you want to spend.
absolutely. Yeah, definitely. There's so many options. It's very customizable. Absolutely. It's pretty
that's
amazing.
that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. Another question, Shane, are tiny homes a mobile home? Is that like the same?
Oh, they certainly look like a mobile home, as far as the appearance, but legally in most places and most in the US and whatnot, they're pretty much an RV in most legal classifications. The actual design standard, according to the RVIA, which is the RV Industry Association, is they're classified as an RV. So it's different in the sense of zoning laws in terms of which is challenging as far as where they can be placed and permanent placement versus movability and whatnot can be a little bit of a challenge. But the actual classification is they're typically an RV versus a mobile home.
I was thinking about that because last week we had this call about RVs and how many people are becoming digital nomads, and they have their RV as a house and office,
Right, right.
which is pretty good, right? People are traveling and they have their office there. And I've seen some pictures of tiny homes with like a second story office or second story bedroom.
Mhm.
So I can imagine that can be not easy to be moving around
Sure.
like an RV, right?
most teeny homes have, even ones that are designed to be moved, have like a loft in the inside. They're not very spacious on the second floor. I always say it's where you put your kids, but they're typically they have like some sort of loft or upstairs area, but they're designed that way and designed still to be moved. As far as like modifications, it totally be up to the homeowner or owner of the unit. But yeah, there's certainly, be a little more difficult if you modified it after moving it. But yeah, they are designed to be moved like a mobile home, if you will. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Another question is, are tiny home difficult to put on a single family lot?
Yeah, so it all kind of comes down to the municipality in terms of the zoning laws. Like where I live, being that it's an RV, it's again more difficult that it has to go into an RV park or a mobile home park versus on a single family lot. Again, like I said last week, even if you owned 1,000 acres, they still consider it an RV. So it really depends upon where you're located, where you're based out of. So it really depends upon the city, the state, and really the municipality's laws. And I wish they were a little more relaxed than they are, unfortunately. But it really depends upon the zoning laws of that city and state and whatnot. That really just depends.
Yeah, up here in New Hampshire, they're becoming popular, and the laws in New Hampshire is more flexible, I will say, because if you own the land, you can do pretty much whatever you want. That RV park and mobile home park in Arkansas, when I was about doing the due diligence, trying to figure out what to do with it, I called the city and they told me if nobody complains, you can pretty much do whatever you want. So some states are more flexible and open to these new technologies and new ways for people to make a living. So that's what we are recommending people to ask before you get into something that is going to be difficult to do in your state. But some of the states who are open to and welcoming these tiny homes and the tiny home communities are probably the cities and the states that are growing.
Mhm.
And part of our projects are to develop an ecosystem. So if you have a house and you can do work out of your house, like a digital work, like AI or um, customer service.
Information.
I mean, most industries are now open to work remotely, right? And but again, still people need to go out to eat. Still people need to go out to a doctor's appointment and dentist appointment. So the community also needs offices and so it's going to be a good combination of housing being mobile, being permanent housing, and also the commercial side of it. And that's why, in our developments, we always have a place for the commercial, right?
Right.
So these tiny homes communities are kind of new, but they becoming popular. And I think as they grow, the laws will be more specific of what we can do and what we cannot do. But
Absolutely.
for now, I think is flexible in so many states,
Mhm.
and that's a good thing. You once you get established, you can get the permits to make it official.
Right. Yep. And I think once it's developed too, it's easier to make changes than the earliest
Mm,
stages. Definitely.
absolutely, absolutely. So I think you already answered this question that I had for you, but are the tiny homes on wheels?
Usually yes. I mean, they're certainly delivered that way. Some people may choose to take them off once it's in a permanent location. But yes, they're always delivered that way and built that way. Yes. Yep.
And I would say yes and no. Depend, just like you say, depends of the manufacturer. Sometimes you can get it to be permanent, and they deliver it to you, and they get set on the field. But I think it makes a difference if you buy it on wheels. Could be considered an RV, like you said, and that way the title is a vehicle, which is less taxes,
Yep.
and it's also flexible because you can move around, right?
Right.
If you buy it to be set at a place that it's not on wheels, it becomes permanent housing. So you're gonna have to pay more taxes, and you can't be moving around. But it's all depending of what people are looking for, and we are looking for a combination of both.
Right.
Some people like to be digital nomads and be moving around. Some people don't like that lifestyle. They just want to be in the same place and not to have to travel. There's a lot of fear about traveling right now because of different things like pandemics and war and things that are happening. So we just have to be respectful of what people are looking for, and we can accommodate either way.
Absolutely.
So, but if they are on wheels, the benefit is the taxes, right? They pay less taxes.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. There's a huge benefit. Absolutely.
Yes. But also, New Hampshire, for example, the mobile homes are considered real estate. So they're not, just because they are on wheels doesn't mean that they pay taxes as a vehicle. They pay taxes as a real estate.
Yeah, it's certainly
So
different.
that also depends of the states.
Yep, yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Certainly varies. Yeah.
Right. So, Shane, we have been getting some questions also from the audience about land development and what projects that we're doing, like a combination of the three options: RVs as an RV park, tiny homes as a tiny home community, and mobile home and mobile home parks. What can you advise the audience in regards to location for these RV parks or mobile home parks or tiny home parks? What's the best location for the people who are reading the book, trying to get into the wholesaling, and they're looking for properties for us to develop these communities? What's going to be the best location based on your experience?
Certainly from prior experiences that I've looked at, it's definitely best to find something within around 2.5 to 3 or so miles from a major interstate, and also within usually around a maximum 5 or so miles from not necessarily a major city, but some sort of city center or village center. But the interstate is major just because of the commerce aspects of the initial development, and then still being close to some sort of village or town or city for the longer term development. So it's just big to have both of those draws, if you will. Aside from that, I mean, again, like we mentioned in our previous video, sewer is huge versus having septic. And then aside from all those considerations, I think what else is nearby, whether it's grocery stores, whether it's different services, crime rates are always huge as far as, is there crime in the area? Is there accessibility to other services and whatnot? But yeah, I think the biggest thing is mileage. I mean, really, just how far are you to interstates? How far are you to other services? And that's really what I first look at when considering an area. Definitely. Definitely.
And I think in our previous call also mentioned that a lot of the people who are now digital nomads depend on the internet connection.
Oh yeah.
So we need to be close to an interstate and in part of a major city so they can go to a Starbucks coffee or somewhere that they can get connected to the internet.
Yep.
So
Or
that's
or to be able to build it on site as far as if it's fiber optic or something, it's in the area. One of the two, yes. Yep, definitely.
correct.
Yep.
So that's the main thing for us, location. Like Shane mentioned, we want to be close to an interstate and not too far from a major city. That's going to be more convenient. So you can go buy groceries, you can go and do your business and just have a good place to be, maybe next to a river or next to a lake or close to the ocean, and just keep going and enjoying life as you're traveling and working. You're working while you're having fun, and you're having fun while working. And so that's the new uh, technology that allows us to do this type of work.
Absolutely. No, definitely. Definitely.
Any anything else that you want to add from
Um, oh, yeah, sorry, cut out for a minute. Yeah, I think just the biggest thing would be from a development perspective, the other aspects are definitely if nature is huge. I mean, that's big with every generation, especially millennials and whatnot. I think being if you're near like a national park or near like you mentioned with hiking and whatnot, but something like that, it's definitely huge. So being near some sort of natural feature, I think is another big plus. Whether it's even if you're near an interstate, just having a state park nearby or something like that, it's definitely beneficial as well.
Yeah, and also I like to see those parks, or like you say, national parks, and also see like trails. I like to go on my bike, and some people don't. I don't. I'm used to be on a road bike, and I'm used to be, next to vehicles. But some people tell me that they're afraid to do that,
Yep.
and so having a trial that they can go, and knowing that there are no motorcycles or motor vehicles in the way, it makes it a lot safer. So that's also a benefit if the community is close to one of these parks, that they have trials to go around and do some exercise, or just to go buy groceries or something like that and be able to use a bicycle.
Mhm. And it makes another point of paying attention to the future needs of the area. If you're building in the middle of nowhere, paying attention to what's going to be built in the next 5 to 10 years. A lot of areas like in Florida that there might be nothing there right now, but in 5 to 10 years it might be built up, and paying attention to what the plans are, whether it's bike trails or nothing, it's just urban sprawl. So it really depends upon what the area is going to look like if it's not currently developed. So that's important as well.
And I will say that's a good point, Shane. Thank you for bringing that up. I will say that based on our model, our business model, we buy based on cash flow. So properties like that in the middle of nowhere, probably the cash flow is zero or negative, and they probably won't qualify for what we're looking for.
When we were referring to, what I'm referring to is the area surrounding the property. Like if it's an RV park, but the area around it, it might be in a rural area that hasn't developed yet. That's what I'm referring to. But yes, it's
Right.
likely yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that people understand, because we have some people who presented deals to us, but these deals are in the middle of nowhere. There's no way for us to have any cash flow, and our investors don't like negative cash flow. So we want to be closer to an interstate, closer to a major city where there are potential for good cash flow, positive cash flow, so we can make a deal. Buying properties in the middle of nowhere, it's a different strategy. We're not using that strategy. That's something that is called, I forgot the term right now, but like you say, if you have to wait 5 or 10 years, that's
Speculative.
speculation. That's the word I was looking for, speculation. So you don't know when that development is going to happen for that property to bring cash flow. So
Mhm.
because you are speculating, it's a really good strategy. The people who are practicing that, they're making the highest return on their money, but you have to have deep pockets to wait. And in our case, we working on cash flow because we have to keep our income and expenses flowing so we can stay in business.
Right.
It's a different strategy for the people who have a lot of cash. It's a really good option,
Right.
but that doesn't qualify for what we're doing.
Right. No, absolutely. Totally makes sense. Definitely.
Yeah. All right, so I think I'm good with the questions. I'm again, I want to say thank you for the community who are bringing their questions to us, and thank you for the property finders who have been active looking for properties.
Right.
They're doing a great job. They're learning. We've been communicating with them. They're getting set to understand what we're looking for. And again, this is like if people are looking for a house to live, people have to know if they want a 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom, 4 bedroom. You have to know what you're looking for before you go out to find what you want. So in these communities, it's also the same thing. We have to have a mindset and know what we're looking for, because not every deal is a good deal.
Right.
So knowing what we're looking for is how you can make sure that you understand that the deals are making sense. And again, cash flow is king. Cash flow is what determines if we are making a good deal or not.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Totally makes sense.
Yeah. All right, Shane. Thank you so much for bringing this opportunity for another episode, and thank you for facilitating this platform.
Sure.
And thank you for all the good work. You're doing great, and we're gonna start building these communities and connecting people from one state to another, so we can travel, enjoy life, and have a lot of fun.
I look forward to it and look forward to seeing you again next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks. Have a good night.
You too.